Hey, I'm Sam and I do design, and in the video today, it is the 7 questions challenge. This challenge started with Jimmy over at Jimmy Design, and the idea is that every designer answers the same 7 questions and then passes the video on to the next designer. Jimmy passed the 7 questions challenge over to Design Plus Morna, but then Morna messaged me, and eventually the whole challenge became everybody makes a video all at the same time, which means we can post everybody's video in the description down below so you can see everybody's. So after you've watched this video, go and check out all of the other videos in the links below. And if you're joining me from any other channel and this is the first video you've seen from me, welcome. My name is Sam. I'm an industrial designer living and working in London. I have about 3 to 5 years of experience in the design consultancy field and high art, bespoke design, but that's by the by. What I'm trying to do on this channel is take whatever I learned yesterday and teach it to people today. So it's great to have you here. If you're joining from another channel, let me know who sent you here in the comments down below, because I'd love to hear where you've come from. And with all of that being said, now it's time to get on to the 7 questions. I've got the list here. I've already filmed this video once, but I had some audio technical difficulties, so I'm filming it again. I hope I can say the same things, but faster, so I can save you time and give the same information out at the same time. So, question number 1. Industrial design is a fairly uncommon field. How did you discover it? Well, I was really lucky growing up that on one side of my family, it was mainly engineers and people that built things and people that engineered things. And on the other side of my family, it's mainly artists and glass artists, ceramic artists, painters, things like that. And I truly believe that design is the combination of engineering and art. So I got to experience that from a very early age. My granddad, who actually lived next door to us where I grew up when I was 5 or 6 years old, he had a workshop full of power tools, bandsaws, wood lathes, everything like that, which means that I had access to those from probably an age that I shouldn't be allowed to have access to those things. But I grew up in that environment and I'm very lucky to have had that experience. Now, I get that that is so rare for someone to have access to a design lifestyle like that from such an early age. And sometimes people in their adult life are just starting to learn about design for the first time as well. What I'm trying to do with this channel is to teach people about the design industry based on what I've learned and to just try and bring as many people on board as possible. So I hope I'm doing a good job at that, and I hope that I am giving people the opportunity to become a designer and to put themselves within that mindset of being a designer without having to have spent the age of 5 years and up on a woodworking lathe growing up. So I hope that's what I'm doing. I get that I'm very lucky to have had an experience like that. Question number 2, how do you describe your job to someone who doesn't know about industrial design? Whenever I say I'm an industrial designer to people that don't know, they think I design factories, they think I design cranes, diggers, tractors, things like that. And what I have to actually say to people is like, I pick things from around the room and I say like, oh, those speakers over there, somebody designed those. The TV there, somebody designed that. The camera, the microphone, the physical items that you hold, that has been designed by somebody. That's my job as a designer. And through ways of bringing it back into the world that they realize, they can start to understand it's like, oh, okay, chairs just don't exist out of nowhere. Lamps don't suddenly appear from the lamp tree. And they finally start to understand that the things all around them need to be designed, and that's where I come in. I will say, though, now that the word product designer for when you're talking about physical items is dead. That is dead in the water. We've tried to reclaim it back from the digital product designers and the UX and the UIers. They, through sheer brute force and just the sheer number of UXers and UIers out there, have proclaimed product design to be their own. And I actually need to be pretty careful about when I talk about other design disciplines because I get very angry people in the comments. But let it just be known, I highly respect UXers, UIers, digital product designers, graphic designers, all of that field. Anyone who is a creative, so much respect. I'm only a little bit bitter that you've stolen the word product design from us. So I stopped telling people that I'm a product designer and I just use the word industrial design, and I just try and bring it back to the things that they know and things that they can relate to. Question number 3, what inspirations have developed your ID style? I think it's worth noting that I'm still a very young designer. I'm 25. I've been graduate for 3 years. I've worked at internships where I've had a lot of responsibility, but they were still internships. So with experience of 3 to 5 years, my design style is still ongoing, and it will be for, I guess, the rest of my design career. Another thing worth noting is it doesn't matter what I say my design style is. It's whatever people take from the designs and understand from the designs once they've been put out into the world. What I will say is I've had experience with Paul Coxedge Studio, which is a bespoke lighting and furniture company. And I've had experience with Recipe Design, which is a design consultancy that makes medical products and really finely constrained industrial design pieces. So I've got a varied experience level across design. And if you want to know more about my experience throughout design, you can go and check out my last video, which is talking about my portfolio and reviewing my portfolio. But that's by the by. I think my design style has been drawn from the experiences that I've already had. So the product that I want to pick out on is the weight light that I designed for Gantry Designs. Now that is a contemporary, minimal, easy to understand design, but it's kind of playful in its essence. Like the whole idea is that this orb of light has fallen onto the base and it's deformed the base, it's squashed it, it's broken the base if you want to look at it that way. And this whole idea of light being heavy is quite playful, I think, and quite, it's full of personality. So what I would like my design style to be is minimal, clean, contemporary, but just with an edge of personality, something that doesn't take itself too seriously. That's what I would like. But like I said, it doesn't matter what I say about it. It just depends on what you take from it as a viewer of the design. So let me know in the comments what you think my design style is, because I would love to know. Question number 4. Which company would you love to design a product for? And when I first answered this the first time around, about half an hour ago, I couldn't think of an answer. Like, I didn't know. But since then, and since I got frustrated with myself for a microphone issue, I've thought that I would love to design a product for Alessi. Now, Alessi make kitchenware appliances, they make homeware appliances, and they always have an element of friendliness, playfulness. It's almost like jokey designs. And sometimes the jokey designs take it a little bit too far for my liking. It becomes more of like the pop art, postmodernism range of designs. And I'd like to bring it back into the contemporary minimal lifestyle just a little bit. But I think Alessi nails it on the head if you're talking about clean, minimal, but friendly and fun designs. So a company that I would love to design for is Alessi. Question number 5. What is your go-to industrial design program and why? Now, this is tricky for me to answer because I love hopping from program to program throughout the day. I don't think there's any one program that's great for everything. I think they all have a very specific use case. And I love learning new programs to try and help me do other things, new things. And that varies from something like Procreate that I use on the iPad for sketching. I use Shaper 3D on the iPad to model things in a fast way, just to find some volumes and find some basic shapes. Gravity Sketch, which has released a beta app for the iPad, and I'm actually testing that app at the moment, and I'm releasing a video about it roughly the same time that this video goes live. So if you want to go and check out the new Gravity Sketch beta and how you can become a beta tester as well, go and check that out. And then all the way through to final surface modeling to export to manufacturers, I will use SolidWorks. And then to render up those products, I will use Keyshot. Now, I love using Keyshot. I do a lot of tutorials on this channel about Keyshot, and I have my second Instagram page dedicated to interior renderings in Keyshot as well. So I think even though I'd like to hop between so many different programs, I think my favorite is Keyshot, just because I really enjoy making something look real. I feel like I've cheated the fact that it's not actually real. Like I feel like I've cheated reality and cheated perception if I can release a photo and people start to wonder if it's real or a rendering. I really quite enjoy that process. So I would say Keyshot is my go-to program if I want to just play around in a program. Question number 6, what do you dislike most about industrial design? And this was the question that I took the longest to answer to the first time around I filmed this. I'll try and summarize it though. Firstly, in design education, industrial design, and this is the way that it is in the UK. I don't know if it's the same in the rest of the world, but industrial design is taught over 4 years, and you experience everything through an industrial designer's lens. You spend your time with industrial designers, you get lectured by industrial designers, you work with industrial designers, and by the time you finish school, you could be forgiven for thinking that industrial design is everything about the world. And it's a shock to realize that it's not. Industrial design is a tiny, tiny proportion of a business model at large. And you could argue that designers are trying to get a seat at the table and to try and sit on the C-suite a lot higher up in the managerial hierarchy of companies, but we're not there yet. We're not at the point where design is considered important enough to have that seat at the table. In a lot of companies, design is still a department, not the way that the company is run. So we have to educate for that reality as well. So that is my gripe with industrial design education, is that it over exaggerates how important industrial design is in the real world, or how important people perceive it in the real world. Granted, you could argue that design-based companies will do better, and we're slowly getting there. We're slowly trying to convince business-minded people that design is important, but we need to go to them, and design education needs to teach you more about business. Design education needs to teach you more about working with engineers. It needs to teach you more about working with advertisers and marketing, and it needs to teach you more about the way that businesses run, because it's not good enough to just work with industrial designers for 4 years. So that's my gripe with education. And this is the condensed version, by the way. My gripe with industrial design and being a creative as a whole is that we perceive our self-worth and our values as a human being to be directly correlated with the work that we do and the outputs that we make. I've been experiencing this quite recently with me releasing my portfolio in a portfolio review and people saying not nice things about it. I was expecting it. I wasn't expecting to feel the way that I did about it, because creatives as a collective, we just assume that because design is the way that we think, and design is a thought process, and design is, we assume that we are the designs and we are the work, whereas that is really bad when design is subjective, and one person can hate the design, whereas another person loves it. So to have that conflict and to associate yourself with that design is not healthy. We as humans are worth more than the designs that we can ever do. And separating out ourselves from our designs is key to being happy and successful in the design world. I've been going through that recently, and I've been saying that in this video to hear myself say it. I hope that it's helped someone to hear me say it, that you are worth more than your designs combined. You are not the quality of your designs. Design is a job at the end of the day, and nobody who fills in spreadsheets at a non-creative company beats themselves up over the fact that, you know, they didn't fill in as many spreadsheets in. I don't know how non-creative jobs work, by the way. But, you know, like, we need to separate ourselves from our work. I think that's important. So, yeah, you're worth a lot more than your work. Number 7, what makes industrial design good? And I think I can sum that up by wrapping everything that I've been saying into one point, and it's that design is the culmination of not only art and engineering, but it's also the culmination of business, marketing, and that whole ecosystem as a whole. So design needs to solve a problem on an emotional level if you're talking about the art side, on a practical level if you're talking about the engineering side, and on a business level if you're talking about everything else. Those 3 things need to happen for good design. It needs to be emotive, practical, solving a real problem, and it needs to actually work and make money, because as much as everybody hates on capitalism at the moment because it's killing the planet and all that bad stuff that we all know is true, design can't happen unless it fits within a larger business scope. So the thing that makes good design is emotive, practical, and good business. And then obviously you have the 10 principles of design. And we all know that too, I guess. If you want to read those, you can go and look at those 10 principles of design. So that is the 7 questions challenge. Thank you so much to Jimmy for putting this together. Thank you so much to Design Plus Morna for bringing me along and helping me curate the list of designers you can see down below. Go and check them out down below. Go and see everybody else's viewpoint, because I'm just one person. I'm just one person with one viewpoint. And it's great to experience other people's viewpoints from other parts of the world. So I recommend going and subscribing to everybody else in that list. If you learned anything in this video, don't forget to let me know in the comments down below, because I love hearing about it. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and hit the bell button and everything else that YouTube asks you to do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.